G'day all. Welcome to Rugby Heartland, Rugby Redefined, Rugby Daily Digest for the 14th of December 2025. And well, the rugby world has just come through another massive weekend of action in Europe, and we've seen statement wins, some defining moments. But I suppose we just get straight into it, and I've been having a little play around with our graphics here. And of course, as mentioned, yesterday's big win for Leinster over Leicester by 23-15. But overnight there in South Africa, we had the Stormers getting up over Stade Rochelle from France by 42-21. Clermont couldn't handle the Sale Sharks of the UK or of England and going down 14-35. And then the Sharks, who I couldn't see yesterday, they couldn't see their logo properly, they got up in a tight one over the Saracens by 28-23. Munster destroyed the Cherries of Gloucester, the Red and Whites, by 31-3. Bit of a thumping there. Bordeaux, far too strong for the Welsh Scarlets by 50-21. And Glasgow, well, I was all for go to lose, but Glasgow, they got up and took out the victory by 28-21, which is a huge upset for round two. And as I said, we, some of those results that were sort of standouts to me would have been the Sharks over the Saracens. The Sharks have been a bit in recent times, and with Munster demolishing Gloucester, the poor English will be heading back over the Irish Sea to look at where they went wrong. And as for Toulouse going down to Glasgow, that is the biggest upset of the round so far. But there are still some matches to come, and this is Monday New Zealand times for those interested. Of course, Sunday European time. Castres take on Edinburgh, Harlequins take on Bayonne, Toulon take on Bath, with Northampton taking on the Bulls. Some tight matches here. I'm still going to lean towards Edinburgh here after seeing the results of those first games played last night. But that should be an interesting one. The Bayonne Harlequins game, I think Harlequins will take it out. I'm guessing they're playing at the Stoop, and I think they will win that one. Toulon taking on Bath. I think this is going to be a very close matchup, and I think Toulon might actually get up and win this by about 5 points. So we'll see how that goes on tomorrow's edition. Northampton, of course, will be hosting the Bulls of South Africa. The South African sides will be looking for a clean sweep this weekend. And, of course, then Bristol rounded out tomorrow morning, 6:30 New Zealand time against PAL. So, I'd probably lean towards Bristol there. It'll be quite an interesting time. But, as I said, several clubs have made it clear that their set work and their set piece work and all that still needs maybe a little bit of work, but the defences have been quite relentless. But there was clinical finishing at the end of it all. But the message was simple. Do you want to belong in the Champions Trophy? Do you want to belong here? For others, missed opportunities, late errors have left them with questions to answer. December rugby does not forgive mistakes, as they say there in the Northern Hemisphere. As I said, the South African clubs, again, with the Stormers and the Sharks, been physical, continuing to rise to the challenge against Northern Hemisphere traditions, travel, weather, style. But they are adapting, and, I don't know if it's going to be good or bad for South African rugby, but, some commentators are saying they're doing it fast, but I don't think so. I mean, they should have been dominating from day one. Are they contenders? I guess we have to wait and see, because, the Irish provinces, they continue to show their depth with that huge win to Munster. And, standards do remain high, but meanwhile, the English and Scottish clubs have also come out of the woodwork as well, especially Glasgow against Toulouse. And some have found form, others have had hard lessons. And so it's still a road to knockout rugby. But if we have a quick look at how those tables are, of course, it's split into pools up there in Europe. And Glasgow are currently leading Pool 1 after 2 matches with Saracens, Toulouse and Sale all sitting there on equal 6 points, just point differential with them. The Sharks are in the playoff position, and Clermont are pretty much, well, unless they can pick up a win, they're pretty much gone. In Pool 2, we've got Bath, Edinburgh, who are playing this evening, and then Munster, who have thrown themselves in the mix. Gloucester, of course, are still there, even though they got thumped by Munster, which didn't help their points for and against. Toulon, they had quite a bad defeat by 13 points in the first game, but I'm sure they will bounce back. And then Castres, well, hey, it's the French for you. You don't know which way they're going to go. And then if we look at Pool 4, the Stormers and Leinster are leading the way there, both on 9 points, just the differential, showing what's going on there. La Rochelle is equal there on 5 points, but way back in the point differences. Harlequins have got the point, and with Bayonne and Leicester, I thought Leicester might have gone a bit better, but Bayonne and Leicester are yet to get off the mark, especially Leicester after 2 matches. But it'll be interesting to see how Bayonne do tonight. And oops, I have just jumped ahead. I was meant to bring up Pool 4. There we go, Pool 4. And we've got Bordeaux leading at the moment on 10 points. Current champions of Europe, of course. And they are being chased down by Northampton, Bristol. And the Bulls, who are playing tonight, can sort of jump up there into second place. Scarlets, well, they've got a lot of work to do, and Powell, well, I think they will be also runs for the rest of the season. But as I was just mentioning, the Challenge Cup also took place overnight, and still a few games there to go as I just sort out my graphics at my end here. But some huge wins, and how can I put it? They're showing that they might be the second tier of European rugby, club rugby, but they are showing that, if you don't show up, you will be punished. And if we look at some of the results from overnight there, here we go. I'll just do that. There we go. Bring that up. So, Benetton took care of Perpignan, who will be hoping that they wish they had probably Severis a bit earlier. But in a high-scoring match, the Italians got up by 44-31. Stade Francais, they did the business down there at Bloemfontein against the Cheetahs, taking out the win by 45 points to 22. Ospreys, they got a huge win against Montauban down there in France by 33-22. And then Newcastle, wow, I'm a bit of a Lions supporter with my Wellington Lions, and I quite like my British Lions. And, of course, I like the Golden Lions. But they went down in a narrow defeat to Newcastle Red Bulls by 14 points to 10. Huge win there for Newcastle over what should have been a dominant Lions side. So, again, if you don't come and show up to play, this competition, as said, will punish you. And then, of course, we had Connacht. They defeated quite handsomely Black Lion from Georgia by 52 points to 0. And then Cardiff and Ulster, well, they played a humdinger, and Cardiff got away with the win 29-26. The remaining games in this round, we've got Racing 92 taking on Exeter, and then the Dragons taking on Leon tomorrow morning, New Zealand time. If we have a look now at the, I've got the tables here. Yep. So we've only got a few tables here to have a look at. Montpellier, they're leading, I think it's called Pool 1. Yeah, Pool 1. They're there with the Ospreys on 10 points, and Connacht and Zebra, they're both sitting there quite handsomely, and Montalban and Black Lion, well, if they don't do anything in round 3, their season's pretty much gone, and the top 4 there will be fighting out the knockout positions. We head over to Pool 2. Benetton are leading the way with Newcastle behind them. Perpignan and the Lions, who picked up a bonus point from that defeat to Newcastle. And Leon and the Dragons, well, they play tonight. So the Lions, they could actually end up in the bottom of that group, which won't be good for Africa Rugby. And then if we have a look at Pool 3, I've only got room there for the top 4. So we've got Stade Francais. They're on there, 10 points, leading the way after perfect 2 games. Ulster leading in second there on 7, with Exeter and Cardiff now making an impression there in 4th place. So I'll just get rid of that and find out what next is on my list. So I need a drink. Nothing like a Pepsi on a Sunday. But anyway, but the game, as I said, just continues to evolve. I did read overnight that last week the Asian Rugby Union and China have signed up a deal to be a bit more involved with hosting tournaments over the next couple of years, with some 7s and age grade tournaments to be held in China. So that's awesome to see, because, China, Hong Kong, China, they're in the World Cup in 2027. So the Chinese Rugby Federation are making moves to sort of get the mother country more involved. But, it's good to see all that happening. Also, in Asia, we've got the Southeast Asian 7s on at the moment, with the what do you call it? Athletic games type format, like Commonwealth or Olympics, but just for teams from Southeast Asia. And it's also awesome to see teams like Indonesia, Singapore, the Philippines, Laos, did I say Malaysia or Indonesia? One of the two. All taking part in that competition, and both men and women getting plenty of international experience. But I suppose now, as I said, we've still got some games to play overnight, which we'll cover tomorrow. Looking ahead, though, we'll be reviewing how has 2025 been on our Tuesday show. I'm even thinking about putting together a RugbyHeartland 15 for the year. So if you've got any ideas, throw them in the comments, and I'll see if I pick up on your tips. That'll be quite a fun thing to talk about on Tuesday. And but for some teams, especially in Europe, they're leaving their margins late. Any hiccups from now will be really, really hard. So all I have to say is I've been doing this every day now for 3 or 4 days. So thanks everyone that has been watching. I will grab probably the highlight of the show and throw it up onto a short, so you don't have to sit there for 12-13 minutes. But I will give a shout out to our website, rugbyheartland.co.nz and rugbyredefined.com, and also to remind you all that we'll do a live show at our normal 11 o'clock time slot, New Zealand in the morning, on Tuesday, the 16th of December, where we'll try and do a bit of a, I don't know, maybe a Christmas theme, try and get young Mike on, see if Donnie's available and anyone else to jump on the show with us. But basically to answer all your questions and stuff like that. So keep an eye out for our show on Tuesday, right here on Facebook and on YouTube. And and that's pretty much it. So that's your Rugby Daily Dose for Sunday, the December the 14th. A weekend where we've seen statements, a lot of consequences for making dumb mistakes, a season that in Europe is starting to gain momentum. So thanks again for watching, and also enjoy the rugby. We'll see you next time around. Cheerio.